Welcome to the Bears, Birds, and Brews podcast.
This is a show about Chicago Bears, the Atlanta Falcons, and craft beer. My name is Asif and Nabeel. My co-host is
Nabeel Alani.
And then on today's show, we got a very, very special guest with us. It's Mr. Trey Sinclair, the founder, co-owner of Dry County Brewing Co. What's up, Trey?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about who you are, man.
Yeah, so like you said, I'm over at Dry County Brewing Company. We're in Kennesaw, Georgia. We got started up in 2016 here. Been spreading our beer, spirits, and cider around the state since then. We are the first brewery in Georgia to add spirits and cider to our portfolio. Kind of dabble in all things alcohol, I guess. It might be a good or a bad thing, depending on how you're looking at it. But there you go. We spread it all across the state. We are a Georgia-only producer, so you cannot find our products outside the state of Georgia, and that's something that we're really proud of. We're all Georgia natives and live here, work here, family here, friends here, and that's where we like to sell our products. So that's a little bit about us.
Nice. And so today's episode is also all about Dry County, and that's all we're drinking. And we actually just cracked open the Lushies.
Yeah.
Artwork over here.
Yeah, Lushies is one of our more popular beers, especially in our tap room here. It is our Mexican lager. So, yeah, 4.8% alcohol, really classic in recipe and brewing style for that Mexican lager. You can get some Modelo if you want, but I'd say it's more flavorful. Local craft option there. And Lechuza is Spanish for owl. Being in Kennesaw State University is right here, Kennesaw State Owls. You can kind of tie into the sports motif of y'all's show as well. We didn't want to be cheesy and just have a beer called Owl Brew, but we felt Lechuza fit pretty nicely.
I like it.
I love. All right, man. Couple of things. One, on the can, it says here premium Mexican lager, and I feel like that's what I'm drinking. Like, it is a premium quality lager right here.
Yeah.
Two in the bill and I are trying to get some nice tacos after this, so this is a good appetite.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, the perfect Taco Tuesday beer for sure.
And then I love the owl thing. I love the Kennesaw thing. Just want to make a disclaimer: students at Kennesaw State University do not drink this beer if they're not over the age of 21. So
100%
for the alumni spirit at KSU, baby.
Alrighty then, but yeah, no, this is really nice. And these are available in 4 or 6 packs?
These are 6 packs, draft and 6 packs.
Nice.
Yes, sir. You can find these at a lot of Kroger's and Publix around the state, as well as all the independent liquor stores for sure.
And everything we're trying today, they're all available also to buy at your brewery as well, right?
That is correct. Yep. So we sell all the 6 packs at our brewery. I believe we're gonna have beer-wise probably $10 a 6 pack here at the brewery. And usually on tap as well.
And for the record, and we can talk about this now or later whenever you want to, but I was actually at the brewery over the weekend to pick this up. One, shout out to Aaron from Crafted Consulting for making that happen, for making this happen. 2, shout out to your taproom staff, Trey, man. They did a really good job of just keeping the venue running smoothly, and they didn't know who I was. They were nice to me. They found out who I was. They were nice to me. So no, and I got to pick up this great haul of beers, and I like this.
They were supposed to be rude to you once they found out who you were, but no, that's cool. That's good. They were nice both times. So that's awesome. Yeah, we're definitely lucky. We've got a great staff here at the brewery, and something we're really proud of. Pride ourselves on is that customer service aspect for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the brewery. So you guys are located in Kennesaw, near Kennesaw State. But let's talk about current brewery, how everything's going, with the current pandemic, social situation. How is everything running? How are you guys going about to making sure, your clientele can have a great time, but also a safe time?
Yeah, for sure. That's a $1 million question right now, and has been for the past few months, I guess. But when all of this COVID era hit back in late February, early March, I guess no one knew how serious it was going to be. Obviously, in hindsight, it's 2020, but we were in a fairly lucky position, fortunate position, being a brewery and a distillery. We make ethanol, have ethanol on hand. we were able to shift a lot of our vodka production over to hand sanitizer really, really early on, and been supplying hand sanitizer in bulk to the state of Georgia and the hospitals around the state of Georgia since early March. So that's been really cool, a good way to give back. And at the same time, on the flip side, it's been a way to keep all of our production employees employed, and we haven't had to furlough anybody to this point, which has been awesome.
That's amazing.
That's great. And I also want to say too, you do a lot with your product. Then you don't let any product go to waste as well, which is something that a lot of breweries are struggling with right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. So from that standpoint, that's been great, and been able to help the community out, and then use that and leverage that in our tap room as well. So we have, if you notice them over the weekend, we have hand sanitizer stations set up throughout the tap room, where we're doing the 6 feet apart, we're doing the wear the masks, we're doing all that stuff the state recommends. But since we make hand sanitizer in house, we also do have sanitizer stations set up around the brewery, and we're doing everything we can to keep people safe, but also stay open and keep our employees paid and fed and all of that, right? So it's definitely a crazy world we're all living in right now.
Absolutely. And I will add that, like, I felt when I was there, I was able to find my space when I needed it and I wanted it. So, and I was able to watch the Braves game, which is pretty nice too. So, some dry county. I didn't have this next beer actually, but I've been trying to try this one for a minute. And
yeah, for sure.
All right. So, as I'm about to crack this one open, how about you let us know what we're about to crack open?
Yeah, so the pink can is Neon. That is our fruited Berliner. So it's a year-round sour beer, blackberry and raspberry. It's great this time of year in the warm weather that we are having. I'll let you get that crack sound on camera there on audio. But it's blackberry raspberry. Everything we do, we'll get into some other products later, ciders and vodkas and things like that. Everything we do is real fruit, real ingredients. We don't use any extracts, anything artificial. And so with this one, it's real blackberry puree, real raspberry puree, and it is a kettle sour beer. So basically, too scientific, what that does is we drop the pH of the beer, make it really sour, acidic. It's going to be tart and effervescent on your palate. So yeah, go ahead and give that one a try. The kicker is too, it's a beautiful pink color, so it looks really nice as well.
So it's tart, but it's not overbearingly tart. So we always have
Sure.
a ruling on sours because we feel there's two different types of sours. They're both of them flavorful, but one can be very tart, very flavorful, very adjunct-ish, where you can only have a little bit of it. You can't drink it all day. I feel like this one is one of those where you can sit there, watch a full ball game, have a few of these. You can sit at home, barbecue, and if you're not feeling the darker stuff during the barbecue, during the summer, by the pool, by a barbecue, then you could probably kill 4 or 5 of these and not even know what's happening.
100%. Yeah, so that's something. It is, it has our year-round. It is tart as well versus in-your-face puckering sour, right? So it's sold in a 6-pack, and you can drink a 6-pack if you wanted to. It's 4.5% ABV, so you're talking same alcohol level as your domestic beers. It's nothing that's gonna knock you over or anything like that, but full of flavor for sure.
Hey, I'm really digging this. I gotta say, it reminds me of rosé. Like I look at it and I'm like, all right, Sunday fun day. Watching a football game, like this is a solid, easy light drink.
Yeah,
and it's got
for sure.
So we are going to get into sports in a second, but we do have to ask you, what are you drinking? Because you ran to got a drink real quick. We want to know what you're drinking. Like everyone, what do the people at Dry County drink?
Yeah, I'm all over the board on what I drink. Right now, what I'm drinking is our High Branch hard cider, which I know you'll have a few cans of, and we'll crack open a little later on, or you can jump into them now. It doesn't matter to me. But honestly, after a long day, I've had a few IPAs today. Those were the drink of choice, and so I'm leveling back a little bit into the cider here, being a little later in the evening.
As they say, monkey see, monkey do.
Oh,
yeah. There you go.
And I want to say, I was there over the weekend. I had the new hazy IPA that y'all put out, the Stable Genius.
Yeah.
Dude, that is killer. I want to come back just for that. And the bill is something to come out there. That's
I'm glad you like the hazy. We are we can go ahead and tease. We'll have a hazy IPA coming out in the market and in cans and kegs, probably in September timeframe. That's going to be based off that recipe that you had at the brewery this weekend. So not the same name, not the same beer, but definitely based off of it. So, but yeah, what you guys are drinking right now is High Branch Hard Cider. That is our first foray into the cider game, the cider business. Just like I talked about with our sour beer with Neon, everything we do is 100% real fruit, no extracts, no artificial flavorings. And so with this, it's a classic apple cider, but there are no added sugars. There are no apple flavorings. This is apple juice fermented with more apple juice added back. That's all it is. So, and I think you can taste that. It is a little less sweet than the national brands, an Angry Orchard or something like that. But to me, that makes it more refreshing and something that you can drink a little bit more of, for sure.
Yeah, it's a little dry, but it's nice, dry and crisp. Very, very easy.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I feel like this is finally something where I can look at and be like, man, I don't want to drink another beer, but I want to have something that's just gonna make me feel good, and this is it. Like like the Angry Orchard stuff. I mean, this is local, I like that, but you can taste the quality in it, the local, like organic quality of it, and
yeah,
the color I think is great too. Like it's totally passable. So like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So let's get into sports a little bit. So
yeah,
you guys are near Kennesaw, so I'm assuming on Saturdays in a normal life, the KSU game is always on, always going. But what other sports? And we can talk about just you. We are talking to you. What are your teams? What are your sports affiliations?
Yeah. So sports-wise, for me personally, Dry County aside, I'm a diehard Braves fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first and foremost sport. But I'm an Atlanta native or Georgia native. Grew up in Kennesaw, Woodstock area my whole life. So Falcons, Braves, Hawks, you name it. I'm everything Atlanta and Georgia. I went to school out at UGA, so I am a KSU fan. I'm also a UGA fan. So Owls and Dogs all day for me. But right now, especially right now, it's Brave season, even if it is a shortened 60-game Brave season. And so last night hurt a little. The night before felt good, but we'll see how the next 58 go. So or 57, whatever number we're at now. So.
How do you feel about Fulte being let go?
I've been away from the news today. I obviously saw it last night, saw it happen. It felt a little odd to me that it happened that quickly. Right. I'm interested to see what else comes out about that, if there is other drama going on around the situation. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business like anything else. And get someone else in there and give them a shot and see how they can do. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on it or a pundit. So it is what it is. You feel bad for anybody that goes out and doesn't perform like they want to perform and does get demoted. But as quick as it happened, you kind of want to suspect there might have been something else going on there. So that's just me being an armchair quarterback. So.
Well, that's going to keep you on that armchair real quick. So how do you feel about this season? Like a 60-game season. I know everyone wanted there to be a season, but does it feel like, let's say the Braves win the World Series. Is it a true World Series in your mind? Is it a asterisk World Series? Is it, what are your thoughts? How would you feel?
Yeah, I guess last year was an asterisk World Series, right? And
that's true.
And they're probably still celebrating. So I'll take an asterisk in a 60 game and celebrate it. Yeah, I'd rather have the asterisk and win it than not win it and not have an asterisk. So we're playing, let's win it all. That's kind of my take on it. And would I have rather seen us have a 162 game season and not have the DH because I'm a purist and all that? Yeah, sure.
That was the next question. So what are your thoughts on the DH, the man on second in the 10th, the 3-batter minimum? Like, is baseball doing too much? Are you going to be mad if next year in the 162 you see similar rules still there? Or are you going to be like, hey, baseball's evolving, I'm going to try to evolve with it?
Yeah. I personally think they're doing these because we will see them next year when it's a 162, and now it's a great opportunity to test it out and not face the backlash. Do I love all of the changes? No, but do I get it? Yes. Baseball is definitely in my opinion, struggling and falling behind some of the other major sports where you have these great superstars and this great entertainment value. And you're losing a little bit of it in baseball. And they're doing the things they feel they need to do and probably do need to do to improve that, whether it's man on second to speed the games up and get them over with quicker, or whether it's a DH to do the same thing or to bring more offense into the game. Obviously I grew up a Braves fan in the 90s and with the World Series and the pennants and all of that. And having that NL versus AL and the DH versus non-DH and all that, it was awesome to see. But maybe it is time to change it. Maybe it is time to get it going forward. Who am I to say? So I make beer and don't manage a Major League Baseball club. So yeah, who knows?
Right now, you're baseball's target demographic. So
Right.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you're the target demographic. So your word is bigger than you think. I have
and from that standpoint, I mean, do I love it all? No, but am I here for it? Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna not watch because they're changing the rules. I'm all for it.
Definitely. So before I crack, I'm going to ask you another sports question, but first I'm going to crack this IPA that you also brought, which I'm really excited about. I am an IPA person, so when I saw this, I'm like, all right, IPA, let's do this. How about you talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, so Dry County IPA, which you are cracking right now, in the green can is our, call it flagship beer. This is the beer we sell the most of. This is the first beer we ever brewed professionally. For the first year of our existence, this was the only beer that we had out in the market. So this was Dry County, and that's why it's called Dry County IPA. But this is a classic American IPA, a little more West Coast in style. Today, in today's market, you could break IPA into 100 categories, but you could break it into two. You've got your classic West Coast, old school American IPAs, and you've got your new school hazy, which is what you were talking about that you had at the brewery on Saturday, the hazy, kind of softer, sweeter IPA. This is the former. This is that bitter in your face, citrus pine classic IPA. But that's what we're going for. That's what we're known for, and this is our bestseller even still today, 5 years later. So.
How often do you drink this beer?
Trey, how often do you drink the Dry County IPA?
I drank 3 pints of it today, so I drink it. I drink it every day, probably for sure. It's safe to say I've drank more Dry County IPA than any other individual on the planet at this point. Being that I've had it for 5 years now. So
coming out with the hat trick, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So the sports question that I kind of teased before we crack this. You said you're a UGA and a KSU fan. Do you think we're going to have college football this year?
Oh man, that's there's it's a tough question to answer. It's hard to answer it with your head and not with your heart, I guess. But I think we will have some form of college football this year. Will we have a full season? Will we have bowl games? Will we have SEC championship, national championship? I don't know. Early reads on, and again, I don't get to follow the sports news as much as I would like, to be completely honest with you, but early reads of seeing how a lot of SEC schools were putting schedules out there with UGA, for instance, standard start date, all online learning after Thanksgiving. That kind of lines up with football season, right? So it's kind of like, hey, let's come to school for football season so the athletes can be here and play and the students can be here for the games. Then let's go home and distance like maybe we should the whole time. But, so that kind of leans me towards they want to do it, but I hear more and more rumblings around it's not going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see pro football. I think we'll see NFL. I hope we see college football. But will we? I'm not entirely sure.
I'm personally open to them pushing college football to start in February, because in I believe California, they already moved the high school football to start in February. So I'd be.
I saw a few states now have done the high school football push date. I don't know if they've all gone as far as California has, but push the dates back at least a month or so. So it'll be interesting for sure. And then college. Could you have it play then? I don't know. So many of these universities depend on football for the monetary side of it. can you completely cancel it? Probably not. You got to push it somewhere. And some of these schools where maybe football is not the breadwinner or the only breadwinner, can they get rid of basketball, or do they have to push basketball to another season that they're not normally used to playing in?
Well,
So
basketball is already hurting for all colleges because they missed
yeah,
out on $1 billion. So
yeah, for sure. And our city did, and
Yeah.
being here in Atlanta, that was rough, and being a brewery here in Atlanta, that was rough. The Final Four is bigger than the Super Bowl in terms of beer sales for the city that hosts it. So that was that kind of kicked off COVID for us as a brewery and as a beer industry. Was
definitely.
Final Four was kind of the wake up call of, wow, this is going to be real and going to impact, because that's billions of dollars in economics, right? That no one was going to cancel for nothing or for something that wasn't real or big. So yeah, we've been feeling it since the Final Four, and we'll probably be feeling it come next Final Four, to be frank and honest. So it's
Final
crazy.
Four also lines up with St. Patrick's Day, which it isn't just about St. Patrick's, it's all about drinking beer. So
something else.
Yeah, it was a big beer holiday that took a hit. And you got Cinco de Mayo. That was a big beer holiday that took a hit. Y'all drank Lechuza earlier on. Lechuza does great during the Cinco de Mayo holiday. It's a local Mexican lager. That took a hit, and we felt that. But we have been fortunate from the beer side that the local community, Kennesaw and Greater Metro Atlanta, have been really supporting us throughout all this and coming out to the brewery, buying pints and six-packs and purchasing us at the local grocery stores or package stores and bars and restaurants that are open and that sort of thing. So we're definitely feeling the love from the locals for sure.
Real quick, you said Lechuza is available at local program Publix. What other beers are available at the local grocery stores for y'all?
Yeah, so in a lot of Kroger's, you can find that Dry County IPA and the Lechuza Mexican Lager. In a lot of the Publixes, you can find those two beers as well as the Neon. COVID has definitely impacted grocery beer for sure. There's what's called a reset once a year in Georgia, where all the beers on a grocery shelf get reset, and whatever Kroger or Publix or Ingles or whoever Whole Foods feels is going to be popular that year gets put on the shelf, and it stays there for a year. That whole reset got pushed, canceled, changed this year because of COVID, because they usually happen in March or April. So 2021 is going to be a big year for us and a big year for a lot of breweries, in that it'll be the first reset in 2 years to get on the shelf. So we got a lot of cool things, a lot of them that you're drinking right now that we want to get on the shelf and hopefully will. But Georgia's a great independent beer wholesaler, retailer state, and we're seeing a lot of love from the independent retailers around the state. Those corner package stores, mom and pop package stores, liquor stores, whatever it may be, and we love partnering with those guys and seeing our product on their shelves as well.
Nice, awesome. So I was going to ask you, should I go with the Bourbon Ale or should I go with the vodka?
Well, let's stick with the Bourbon Ale and just finish out the beer side of things.
All right.
And then we can jump into the vodkas there, because they are definitely going to be a different taste profile for you. But yeah.
So okay, well, yeah, we're about to open this bourbon now. You're gonna tell us about that. And Trey, 2 questions I have for you, and I'll ask them again, so you don't have to remember both. But the first one is, what is your day-to-day like as at the brewery? Like, what are you in charge of? What are you thinking about? What's it like to be you, essentially? And you've kind of talked about what it's like to be you in COVID, but obviously that's like a different layer of like the stuff you already had to do, right? So I'm just constantly thinking about like, what role do you play in making the beers that we have been drinking so far already?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. That's a big question. I'm in charge of everything and in charge of nothing, I guess, all at the same time. So my day-to-day is different every day. We have a great brewery team. We've got a great taproom team who you met. We've got a great sales team who are out there in the market hitting bars, restaurants, liquor stores every day trying to sell our product in. My job is really to kind of bring all of that together and make sure we're making the beer we need to make to get on the shelves for the sales team to sell it. Working with our wholesale partners, we've got great distributor partnerships around the state of Georgia that help us move our product and sell our product. And then getting with our retail partners. I drank 3 pints of Dry County IPA today. That's part of my job, is getting out to bars and restaurants and and meeting with these folks they're fighting through the same struggles we are right now with COVID. What are they doing to keep customers and partners and employees safe, and at the same time sell product? And so getting out there and working with them, and being hand in hand with them as they're trying to work through this, we're trying to work through it, and what can Dry County do to help? And that's a big part of what I'm focused on right now. Frankly, bigger than anything is how can we as an industry, as a local craft beer and craft beer retailer, come out of this stronger than we came into it, and really be here for our employees and also our customers. And so a lot of what I do is get out there with our retailers and our wholesalers day in and day out, and just talk through current events and what we can do and change and brainstorm on it. And that's kind of a soft answer and a cloudy answer, but that's really what I do on a day in and day out basis right now. That's the long and short of it, I guess.
You're the biggest cheerleader in the brewery right now, and then I mean that in a great way, in like the most admirable way possible, really.
And why don't you let us know about the Bourbon Ale?
Yeah, so that Bourbon Ale you're drinking, that's probably our most unique beer that we produce on a year-round basis. We're definitely the only local brewery doing something like this. One of the only in the nation, probably, and it's not that it's hard or crazy to do, but it's just different. I tell people it's Kennesaw Bourbon Ale. We don't age the beer in a barrel. We age the barrel in the beer. So what we do is Kennesaw Bourbon Ale starts its life as a strong amber ale, 7.5% amber ale. But then being a distillery, we have a lot of bourbon sitting in barrels and whiskey sitting in barrels. What we do is we take oak chips from those barrels, that barrel process, and we put them in the fermenter with the amber ale, those oak chips. So instead of putting the amber ale into a barrel, we take the barrel, chop it up, put it into the fermenter. And what that does is a lot of surface area. That oak sits in the beer for about 2 weeks during fermentation, 3 weeks during fermentation, imparts a lot of that oak, vanilla, bourbon character to the beer without making it super overpowering. So as you're drinking it and smelling it, and as it's warming up, you might get some of that oak, vanilla, bourbon, toffee, but it's not going to be overpowering to you. So you could drink 1, 2, 3 of those. Pairs great with red meats, with smoked meats, with things like that. But at the same time, you can have a couple of those while you have a hamburger, while you have a steak, while you have barbecue, and it's not going to have to replace that steak or barbecue. So that's Kennesaw Bourbon Ale. It's something that we're really proud of, and again, it's fairly unique and it's not our best seller. We'll choose if that's Dry County IPA, but it's up there. It's in the top 5, and it moves pretty well for us, and it's something that's a nice change of pace here and there.
And it's sitting at 7.5%, so it's not that bad for a darkerish beer, and it actually drinks lighter than a 7.5. So that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like this. I was really excited to try this when I saw it. When I took a good look at the can, and I realized, like, oh, okay, this is gonna be some different. I think Change of Pace could have actually been a great name for this beer.
Yeah.
It really is like that, but I like it. Another question I have for you before we start would be, like, as far as the identity that the beers take on, you talk about what you're doing for the brand and getting out there into the market, but as far as the identity that the beers take on, and maybe the way, like, for example, this one was made, what decision making, what conversations do you guys have as a staff, as a team? Like, this is a Dry County brand versus just like, oh, any old brewery could make a bourbon barrel aged beer sort of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a really tough question. Because that's the thing with beer, right? Is that, there's nothing stopping another brewery down the street from making something very similar to us. But all of our beers, we feel like they need to be incredibly authentic to who we are as a team, as a brand, and as a brewery. And so, going back to Lechuza, we have a ton of Mexican and Latino ties to our brewery. And those play out and can be, in my opinion, felt and tasted throughout that beer, and how authentic that it is. We don't cut corners. We don't change things up. We don't Americanize things in that process. With Kennesaw Bourbon Ale, somewhat similar is that, we are one of the only breweries in the state. We were the first brewery in the state to also be a licensed distillery. So there's a lot that we can do with bourbon, with spirits, with barrels that other breweries can't and or don't and can eventually and will eventually potentially. But there's a lot of things at our fingertips that we might as well leverage and use. And if our goal is to make the best beer we possibly can, we're only hurting the consumer if we don't use everything we've got to make these really good beers. So for us, it's all about using what we have and leveraging all of that and being authentic and true to ourselves and the beers. And they're all beers that I love drinking. And I think that is something also that's important. We don't make beers that we don't want to drink, that I or the brewers or the sales guys don't want to drink. So everything we're doing from a brand standpoint is something that we're really passionate about, that we can get behind and meet you guys in a bar anywhere you want in the state and drink them with you and be completely happy to do it. So that's how we approach that.
So, and you were talking about the spirits and distillery part of everything. So how many beers do you normally like, or are there beers that are available or will be available that it's a full everything, it was brewed, it was brewed here. It was put in a barrel that was, where a whiskey was, aged here.
Yeah.
Same beer was brewed here. Same barrel was aged here. Beer went to that barrel. It was aged, and now you're trying it. Everything in house. Do you guys have beers like that?
We do. We try to put out probably one a quarter that are like big stouts that are then aged in barrels that were used here for our spirits production. So kind of full circle, touch the beer and the spirit side, and then be a beer again, full circle. Probably one a quarter is what we're shooting for right now. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Sometimes they're weirder, more intricate and delicate beers, and sometimes they're pretty straightforward bourbon barrel stout. Here's what it is, and it's ready to go. But yeah, we do that every day. And then I think, there's so much more with having that liquor license, that distilling permit that we learn and we transfer through osmosis or whatever, right across the two, beer and spirits, that you might not see. It's a beer aged in bourbon barrels, but it's a beer that's inspired by the bourbon process or this liqueur process or whatever it may be, that just having that other manufacturing facility process in-house really adds value and really adds creativity to the process of our beer, even if spirits aren't necessarily directly involved.
Right. You may have the flexibility to make a spirit that's a little more vanilla front just because you want to age it into a barrel that it's going to be more vanilla front.
Yep, for sure.
So when's the next one that's dropping? Like, or is there one that just dropped recently, or
in terms of beers?
That like a barrel aged stout or anything?
I got you. Yeah. So we do a line of barrel aged imperial stouts called Bone Music, and Bone Music's about 11% imperial stout aged in different barrels. I think we still have it on draft right now. All of the package has sold out, but that beer is one of the most delicious barrel aged beers we've done, and we'll have another version of it coming out later this year.
Okay.
Awesome. But it's it's definitely a delicious beer, and it's one too that we'll have a version coming out kind of March timeframe next year. So like 1 year anniversary of COVID, that when COVID first hit and there was a lot of uncertainty around, will alcohol sell, will beer sell, or to your point earlier, you have to buy a bunch of it back. Is it going to go bad? We didn't want to brew all these IPAs and lagers and things that we had so much uncertainty about. So we went ahead and brewed a big imperial stout and put it in a barrels that we knew it could sit there for a year. And what we did with that, we went ahead and pre-sold all the bottles that the public knew they wouldn't be available for a year, but they could go ahead and buy them. And a big percentage of those sales went directly back to our tasting room staff, our bartenders, who were suffering from not having customers in the tap room for those 1, 2, 3 weeks that we were shut down as we initially started. So that's going to be a cool one to release next March. That'll be a good celebration. All the bottles have already been sold, already been paid for, and that money's already been dispersed to the staff. But it'll be cool to be able to open those beers and celebrate it with the folks who helped the staff get through those really hard times.
Definitely. That's amazing.
If you got, I just want to say selfishly real fast, if you got any more of those and they're for sale, let us know because we'll come get some. I'll come. Yeah, we'll definitely come get some for sure.
Yeah, we can see if we can find some here in the back.
Perfect. So as we're gonna start wrapping up, we did one. We want to know: do you guys have any like events or any type of not necessarily events, but like anything coming up that our listeners should know about where they can come visit you guys?
Yeah, the event side of things is obviously tricky right now, right? You don't want to make too big of events and get them out there and get any backlash or negatively contribute to continuing to perpetuate the disease, the virus, right? So no large events planned right now. We are gradually getting back out there into having food trucks, having live music from time to time. But again, events where we can still manage the social distancing and the sanitization and that sort of thing. So early September is historically our anniversary week. We're going to change that up and do that a little different this year.
Okay.
Details aren't finalized yet, but definitely keep an eye out for early September. Some cool stuff coming your way from us from an anniversary perspective.
Awesome. Excited about that. Really excited about
Yep.
that. And we did just crack one of these Dry County spirits. I believe this
Yeah.
mango peach lemonade. So
Yep.
Austin's really excited about that because he didn't let me finish my drink when it opened. So
Yeah, so we've got a mango peach lemonade. We've got a blueberry lemonade, both of which are extremely popular. We sell them in 6-pack cans. We've got them on tap in the tap room. If you come in, we also have them in slushy form in the tap room. Yeah, so they're great this time of year as warm as it is. But these are kind of a game changer for us. It's something that's completely unique to us as a brewery, in my opinion. These are 9% ABV. They are real vodka. They are vodka with real fruit. So the one you're drinking, mango peach, it's mango puree, peach puree, 100% lemon juice, blended together with vodka and water to create a you almost kind of call it like a lemonade soda mixture that's mango flavored. Delicious and a really cool change of pace. It's something that's different. It's not a straight bourbon cocktail. And it's not a hazy IPA. It's its own category. So
right, it's a lot more blended. It seems like so. I call these drinks dangerous because you can't taste the vodka. You can just taste the deliciousness. So
yeah, that's what I tell everyone is you drink one and you'll swear it's 0%. You drink two and it's every bit of 9. So
right.
it's yeah, one is misleading and 2 is incredibly sneaky.
So the magic number is 1.5. Everybody.
Yeah, for me at least. I might be a lightweight though.
I doubt that with the IPA. But all right, be safe, then.
Yeah, this is phenomenal, man. I really got to say, like, I love that. I mean, what's the difference between making a beer like or making a can like this versus making a canned beer, right? Because obviously there's differences to consider there. So like, what can you tell people about that process for like the beer nerds you are still listening or whatever,
Yeah, similar processes and different processes all at the same time. We use all of the same equipment we use for beer to make our vodkas and our spirits. So they rest in the same fermenters. They run through the same canning line, all of that. But I guess something that would be different about it is it's a spirit, so there's no yeast involvement. Beer and cider as well are very yeast driven, and the production and the flavor profile is all about managing that yeast, making that yeast happy in order to get a really good tasting IPA, a really good tasting cider. Vodka, it's really, once you have that vodka produced and there, it's really just about your blending techniques, your flavor profiles that you're going for, the recipes you've developed, and then quality control throughout the whole process, not cutting corners, and all of that. And that's something that we're really big on is not cutting corners. If a beer's not ready, it's not ready. If that vodka is not ready, it's not ready. We're not rushing things to meet a production cycle or to meet a distributor's order or retailer's order. It's when the product's ready, it's ready, and we'll get it to you. And we're trying as hard as we can, but we'll make sure that quality is first and foremost. So, to the beer nerds, I think there's a lot of overlaps. There's a lot of similarities. Quality is still first and foremost. We use a lot of the same equipment. It's less yeast driven. It's more process driven. And those are really kind of the big differences there.
I just want to say this is the ultimate party beverage.
Yeah, this is
right
delicious right now. So
yeah, and I love them over ice. But you can drink them straight up too. You can drink them out of the can. You can pour them in a cup.
Yeah.
Blueberry is equally delicious. Blueberry is a little more popular than mango, but they're both equally delicious. In my opinion, mango is a little sweeter. Blueberry is a little sweeter. Mango is a little more citrus. But
Now,
everyone's palate is different.
Now, in the slushy option, do you have an option to mix the two flavors together? Because that is $1 million question right over there.
We definitely do. It's kind of one of those off the menu items. But you can definitely get a swirl between the mango and the peach.
Nice.
And then we always have a couple slushy options that are unique unto themselves as well. So right now I think we've got like a cranberry limeade slushy, and I'm gonna have like a grapefruit slushy as well. But always have a couple of slushy options that are different and unique. But the mango and the blueberry are always there, and they're always delicious, and you can always blend them.
That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for everything over here. Tasting these beers have been amazing. Definitely next time, I do see a Dry County IPA, definitely gonna be drinking that all day. That was great. Asif, you got something to say?
Yeah, so I got 2 more questions for you. One, we probably should have asked this at the beginning, but essentially, where does the name Dry County come from? I don't know if we ever really got to that part, but can you tell us real fast where that name comes from?
Yeah, real quick, and I wish I had a better story for you guys, but I mentioned I went to UGA out in Athens, and I got into craft beer, being handed a Terrapin craft beer out there. That was the only local brewery there at the time. I was unfortunately handed that beer when I was 19, so my really bad fake ID didn't give me a lot of really good craft beer because Terrapin IDs, Dry County IDs, that's on the record. It was easier for me to buy the ingredients to make beer and homebrew than it was for me to try to sneak into Terrapin. So everywhere back then for me and my buddies felt like a Dry County because we couldn't get beer. So everything we homebrewed back then we called Dry County IPA, Dry County Stout, Dry County Porter. When we started what is now Dry County, I kicked around a bunch of names, but I'm not creative, and all the names were horrible. So just settled back on Dry County, and that's where we ended up. And a lot of people like the name. A lot of people think it's clever, think it's funny. I wish I had a better story, but I do like the name, and that it does there that now those homebrew buddies who are not involved with the company, but they can still see the beer on the shelf somewhere on the internet somewhere, and kind of recollect and think back to those homebrew days, and that's pretty cool for me.
That's amazing. So and anyone who's under 21, this is a fair warning. Apparently, you can buy the ingredients for beer under 21, so do not do that. Do not do that.
Don't do that, or if you do that, brew it, but don't drink it.
Exactly.
Give it to us. We'll drink it for you.
And we'll review it.
No, Dry County, I love the name, man. I think that's really special.
And actually, that's a badass story. Don't undersell that story. That's a badass story, actually. You won't sell me a beer? I'll make my fucking beer. That's a badass story. Don't undersell that story again.
Noted.
All right, sorry. I got one more sports question for you, actually, and then we'll just allow you to give your promo, and then we can get out of here. My sports question is, what is your favorite UGA memory? UGA football, basketball, but what is your favorite UGA sports memory from when you were on campus, before, after, whatever? Tell us about it.
Yeah. It's an easy one. I was there for the first blackout game with Auburn. And that was the loudest I've ever heard a stadium of any size for any sport. And the craziest moment I've ever seen, you would come out on the field in the red jerseys, standard jerseys, and then we go back into the locker room, come back out for kickoff in black, and the stadium just went insane. And then we went on to dominate the game as well. So that was definitely my favorite on-field sports moment for sure while I was there at UGA.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah, no, I remember where I was that night. So epic night. Okay, and then the last thing is there anything else you'd like to add? Tell the people who you are, where they can find you. Just give it to us all.
Yeah, no, I think definitely search us out on social media. Dry County Brew Co. is our handle on most every social media, and drycountybrewco.com is our website. If you go to drycountybrewco.com, we also have a product locator on there. You can type in your zip code and what product you're looking for, and you can find if blueberry lemonade is close to you in a liquor store or Dry County IPA is close to you in a liquor store, and go from there. So definitely search us out. Come see us here in Kennesaw at the tap room, and definitely appreciate you guys having me on. And cheers to everybody. My glass is empty now, but I'll still cheers you.
That was ours. Cheers.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Y'all have a good one.
You as well.